Good evening and welcome to the December meeting of the Tupelo Planning Committee. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones. Thank you. Everybody's taking their phones out. Appreciate that. At this time, please rise for the invocation given by Gus Hildenbrand.
Let us pray. Dear God, we certainly thank you for this day that you've given us, this wonderful day that we can enjoy life. We are not really happy with the pandemic, but Lord, these are things that happen and man has brought them on. We hope that you will be with us as we go through the meeting and that the decisions we make will be of benefit to not only the citizens but also to you. For we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you.
Shall we
would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
place the flag, salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. The Tupelo Planning Committee is a volunteer group appointed by the mayor and the city council. We do not receive compensation and do it as a community service. The committee spends a lot of time and our own funds studying, researching the application, and visiting the sites that are on our agenda each month. We ask that you remember that we do not take our positions lightly on any application. Our decisions are based on facts as they are presented and with regard to the regulations set forth in the city code. The planning committee may impose conditions on approval of a requested item as it deems necessary to mitigate potential hazards or problems or bring the non-conformity into compliance to the extent necessary to protect the rights and interests of nearby property owners and the general public. At this time, I would like the staff and committee members to introduce themselves. I'm Leslie Mark, and I'm currently the chair for the Tupelo Planning Committee.
Patty Thompson.
Bill Smith.
John Jimmy Swan.
Gus Hildenbrand.
Marilyn Bell.
Wonderful. And thank you, everybody.
Lindsay Lee.
Thank you, Lindsay. All right. Let's see. We will now move to the review of the last meeting's minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of the last meeting?
I'll make a motion that we accept them as presented.
Second.
Who seconded?
Bill.
Wonderful. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Passed unanimously. The motion carries. Marilyn, do you have a report on last council's actions?
Yes, the rezoning is scheduled for the final hearing on December 15th. We'll have a public hearing that night and the city council should vote on it at that point. The rest of the items, I can only, since I was not available for the meeting, I haven't been told that they were all approved. All the other items that were on the agenda for last month.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. We're now ready to start our agenda. There are 2 items on our agenda tonight. As we work through these, if you are here in order to comment on the application, please, when you are asked, move to the podium, speak clearly into the microphone, state your name and address before offering comment. And as Marilyn gave me directions on how to get to the podium, so please be careful of any wires or any obstructions there. Let's see. Old business, new business. We are moving on to item number Flex Variance 20-05. It's an application from Roberto Mesa, and if I mispronounce that, I apologize, to allow construction of a fence 6 feet in the front yard of the property located at 4264 Butler Road. Is the applicant here, and would you please come forward to the podium, state your name, address, and present your request to the committee? Oh, wait a minute before I do that. I'm sorry. Mr. Marilyn, have the surrounding property owners been notified, and if so, were there any responses?
They were notified. I do not have a record of any responses. No phone calls, no letters.
Mr. Mesa, if you would please come to the podium, state your name, address, and present your report to the committee.
Yes. I'm here to apply for a permit to build a fence in front of my house, my property. I have small children that they play all the time, and some people drive too fast on the street right there, and sometimes, you know, I have to be there to watch them to make sure they don't run out of to the street. So I just trying to do more like a privacy fence for my children.
Okay. All right.
Yes, it's more like, you know, what I prefer is what I'm kind of planning to make it look like.
Okay. All right, let's see. Are there photos or, Marilyn, do we have the map to show the location?
I didn't add it, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, do we have any photos that will show us the type of fence that you're proposing to put
Yeah,
in front of the house?
It's on our screen now. Can you not see it?
Yeah. Let me just rearrange a few things. All right. Okay. All right, yes. Okay. Where do you plan to put this in regards to the distance from the road?
Thank you.
Okay. She'd like to know how it's going to be located on the property.
I like, if you can, I like to go from the road. I like to go like 8 feet in my property and go across all the way on both of my lots. I have between the road and the fence, it will be like 8 feet apart.
8 feet off the right of way.
Yes.
The right of way, how far is the right of way from there's a ditch there, you know?
I will have a survey to go and give me some points so I can put up on that button. So it will be surveyed before if I get the permit, it will be surveyed before I do anything.
Okay, so Marilyn, what is the distance for the right-of-way?
Most residential streets are 50 feet. I did not measure the right-of-way right there. That's one of the streets we inherited from the county. So we're assuming that it's right around 50 feet. So what we would do is eyeball the center of the road and go back toward his property 25 feet to do an idea of it. But he's going to come in. Usually they pave about 30 feet, and then there's extra room on either side for utilities, drainage ditches, those kinds of things. So it could be from the edge of the street to the actual right-of-way could be anywhere from 8 to 10 feet. And then he's plans to come 8 feet back from that.
Okay.
There's a real wide ditch there, so that means that maybe it'll have to come back a ways to get it from the ditch.
When they come and they work and run across from the house, and the gas people and the power people come and play. So those, the gas, the utility, it runs like right against the ditch. So, I like to have a little more room in there, in case they need to do some work on it. So, I don't know how much the city allow, from the property line into it. So, whatever the allowance are, I wanna, respect.
Yeah, we allow people to put the fence on their property line. So if you moving it in could help with this situation.
Yeah,
Are you moving it in, I'm asking a question, are you moving it in so that you can have room to pull your car in off the road?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm gonna put like a gate on it.
Okay.
Can you put that picture back up of the proposed fence? So you're proposing some sort of gate like this at your driveway, is that correct?
What I really wanna do, I wanna put one of those electrical fences gates that you have to have a remote or passcode to get in.
All right, will it be of this design or of a decorative iron fence? We're not talking about a chain link fence, correct?
Okay. Is it going to look like that? It's going to be an ornate iron fence? Because we can't allow you to have a chain link fence.
No, it's gonna be iron fence.
Yes.
Okay.
Is the gate gonna be, it'll be one that moves sideways, right?
I like to have one of those like a double gate.
Oh, okay, so it's gonna
I've
swing.
seen it on many houses, they do what they do, so I like to have one of those on my house too. Yeah, they probably like 8 feet up, each section is like 8 feet apart.
It will open inward toward the house.
Yes. They open it to the inside.
All right, in your application, you stated that you wanted to create this fence would be approximately 7.5 feet tall. Is that correct? Total, from the ground to the top of the decorative fence element, is 7 foot 6 inches?
How tall?
I like to go about 40 inches with the
concrete.
bottom and at least no less than 6 feet to the top of the iron fence.
So 6 feet on top of the 40?
No.
Oh,
fence.
40 feet, okay.
Yes.
40 feet, 40 inches of concrete to a total of 6 feet at the very top. So 6 feet from ground to top of fence. But 40 inches of that will be the concrete base, as shown in this drawing, this picture. So 30 of iron and 40 inches of concrete. Somewhere along there, that'll
That
give you
base
about
there is only
7
about
inches.
18 to 20 inches high there.
Exactly. So it's definitely going to look different, a lot different than that.
I don't know if they allow me to do 7 foot, but 6 foot I think give me plenty of protection for, what I gotta do.
Okay.
Well, actually, I don't think that base should be too high because that's also blocking a view there too, so.
You want to be able to see over we want you to be able to see over the top of the fence, the street.
Yeah.
I think, maybe 36, 40 inches, and I started and set the iron right there, so it'd be, this stone would brick all the way across, and from there up it'd be iron right there, right there.
All right, I'm just reading through the thing to see if there was anything I was supposed to say here. Do we have any, Marilyn, could you please put the other photo back up that shows the property? Did I understand you to say that you own both properties and that you wanted to put the same fence across both of them?
Yes, ma'am.
Marilyn, isn't this just for the one property?
No, it's for both properties.
Okay.
See, what it is, when I bought it, the man that used to own it, he divided. It's a house on 4264, and the 4210 is just an empty lot. He was planning to build a house on there. And I bought it from him, the lot and the house together. So now we just one piece right now.
Okay. Let me get there. Does the committee have any additional questions for the applicant?
It will be operated by remote, the gate,
Yes.
remote control.
They won't have, they have like a little pad with the numbers to put a code in it and remote.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mesa.
Thank
Did
you.
I pronounce that properly? Ms. Mesa?
Mesa, yes.
Mesa. Okay, thank you very much. You may be seated. We will now open the public portion of the hearing for this application. Please try to hold your comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Is there anyone here to speak for or against this application? Please come to the podium, state your name and address.
It's coming.
Thanks, no problem.
My name is Jason Warren. I'm 1006 Charleston Boulevard in Tupelo. We're developing the Butler Park subdivision across the road. My concern is just this down Butler Road, especially in that area, the landscape is very natural, and I just am afraid that what's being proposed may be a little distracting for that area of road through there. Maybe something a little less ornate that would fit more into the landscape would be more what I would be thinking might look natural there.
Does the committee have any questions for the speaker? Jason, don't you have some property just down the, maybe not yours, but there are some developments down and around the corner that
Yes.
also have fences that face Butler Road?
So I've not seen anything like what's being proposed with the, I guess, the base and the iron. If you continue to go down Butler Road, you'll see some wood fences certainly, but that would be in somebody's backyard, not their front yard. And I'm not opposed to some fencing, I just would want to make sure that it looked natural to the area, it wouldn't be distracting. We did a berm across the road when we got our development approved that goes all the way around Butler Road. It's about 4 feet high, and it's got plantings all the way around the top of it. Looks very nice, but I just would think we would want to try to keep that area, the look of it, to be as similar as possible.
Your berm that you're talking about, is that on the sides and the backs of people's property and not on the fronts of theirs, correct?
The berm follows the road, and it would be facing everyone's, in everyone's backyard. The houses wouldn't be facing the berm.
Anybody else have any questions of Mr. Warren?
Well, Jason, the fact of it is, any fence that's put there will not be really natural to the only thing, I guess, that you can put there that might not distract would be maybe wood posts with barbed wire. So, but that, I'm sure nobody wants that, so, yeah.
Yeah, I would think just something that wouldn't catch your eye maybe quite so much, that would fit into the landscape a little bit. Maybe an iron fence without the base might look a little more natural.
A smaller base.
Or just maybe just an iron fence, period, with no base. Maybe not something real ornate.
Well, at least with the iron, you can see through it, because as you go on down Butler Road, as you back up to Oak Meadows and Charleston Gardens, and it goes for a good mile or so, just solid fence.
Wood fence, yeah.
And it may be in their backyard, but as far as the part on Butler, all you can see is just fence after fence after fence. So, whether he does, all the way to the ground, or 10 inches, 20, 30 of solid material, you will see through it. Unlike the fence, so in that case, it's kind of, I guess, better in a way that you're not completely closing off. Because, you guys, unless it's a lot of those wood fences are in bad shape. There's several down there, they're not great looking. There are some nice fences, but, Marilyn, you said the front yard, 4 foot is the height that a front yard fence can be?
Yes. He could do this without this meeting if he only did it for 4 feet tall. But he wants to take it, 6 feet.
But if he only goes, say, 3 foot of that's solid and the rest you can see through, isn't some of that 4 foot because of visibility for a front yard?
Yes, it is.
Well, then, I mean...
The law is that you have to have a decorative fence, which would be like a picket, split rail, iron, something that we don't want a privacy fence or a chain link fence in the front yard.
Yes.
But you also don't want a masonry fence either, which if he comes 40 inches up, you've got a pretty high masonry fence.
But it's less than 48. I was thinking that...
It could be classified as decorative.
But he could.
If he keeps the solid portion below 4 feet, then you can see through the upper part. It's not like he's building a 6 foot tall wooden fence where you can't see. But then from the road, what's the difference between that and what you have at Oak Meadows back there? From the road, all you see is 8 foot tall wooden fences for half a mile or a mile. So this would look better from the road to have a wrought iron.
But Maryland, the code says that you can't have a 4 foot fence, solid fence in the front, right?
It's decorative.
Decorative.
Yes.
As long as it's, but it could be solid, so that
Right.
means,
Some people do a 4 foot privacy fence.
Yeah,
especially if they have a corner lot
yeah.
that has two fronts, they'll drop that, at the front, they'll drop it down to 4 feet, and it'll just be a solid looking, looks almost like a picket fence. Picket fences usually have gaps in there, but this will be like just 4 feet tall.
Do we have any more questions for Mr. Warren? We'll let him go sit down while the committee talk about this further. All right, is there anybody else from the public that is here to talk for or against the fence? Is that no? I'm assuming that's no.
No one is coming to the podium.
Okay. All right. So that closes the public portion of this application review. We're now open for committee discussion. So, from the standpoint of, hi Pat, well, I'm trying to come in. I heard the property owner describe the fence showing he wants 40 inches of solid concrete and then just 32 inches of wrought iron. That certainly is going to be really, really heavy for that area. Just from my own standpoint of that being in the front yard and approving such a tall fence, it seems like proportionately it would be better if we had no more than 24 inches of solid or somewhere there about. 40 inches is pretty significant, just from my perspective. When I drove out there, I certainly did not see that there would be any implications with visibility from coming around the curve or coming up to the curve. It's enough. And can we put a restriction that says he needs to be an additional 8 feet off of the right-of-way? That was the question now.
Yeah, I would say yes, you could, so you would ask, even though he's planning 8 feet, you would ask for him to be 16 feet off of the right-of-way? Is that what you're saying? Because he plans to be 8 feet off the right-of-way.
Yeah, because that ditch, I don't know exactly the placement of that ditch.
Pat, can you
I couldn't hear that question.
okay,
My question was, Pat, if you could rotate, can we say 8 feet off of the right-of-way? Just want to make certain that the fence is on his property side, away from the ditch.
Yes, you certainly can.
Okay. Hi, Pat.
Fine with me.
Glad to see you. Does the committee have further discussion on this issue?
Well, I personally like the looks of the fence there, but it's only got a base of about 2 foot high there or less. If you get up 4 foot, that's more than halfway of that 6 foot fence there. Or 40 inches would be half of 6 foot high. So you're making the whole change from that picture.
Make it a condition.
The condition should be shorter.
That the solid masonry portion
Yeah.
can't be more than 2 foot high. That would keep it more open.
Yeah,
You can see the house better and visibility,
and make it look more natural.
and it'll look like that. That would be, 4 foot of wrought iron showing instead of being more masonry than wrought iron. It puts it back into the masonry just as a
40 inches of concrete would be a wall rather than a fence.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
Okay. Anybody else have any further discussion?
do you want to hear Pat's review analysis?
Okay, Pat, can we have your review analysis of this?
Well, my analysis was based pretty much on this image, that it was a fairly open structure that you could see through, that didn't have the house to a great extent. It would be a different story if it was more than half way up to the height that it was opaque. I would be okay with something like this. It was primarily decorative ironwork. So I would say the conditions that you would want to avoid are visibility for traffic, and the other one being hiding the house is something that's not necessarily part of our aesthetic. And so I would want the house to still be visible through the fence.
Do you have a position on how high you think that solid base, the maximum would be, from a thought standpoint?
Well, I would say it needs to be less than half, 3 feet maximum probably.
Well, that appears to be there about 18 inches. And I don't think that's even 2 foot. And that looks real good. You got a lot of fence there that's ornate, so.
I'm with you, Gus. I think that no more than 24 inches would give a much better view. And still provide him with the security that for his children and any pets or anything like that, that would still give plenty of security for those items.
You ready for a
Would
vote?
you make a motion?
I move that we approve the variance with the condition that the solid masonry portion of the fence be no higher than 24 inches, and the total height of the fence, wrought iron and masonry, be no higher than 72 inches.
What about position from the setback?
What was
8 foot.
She said something about the setback, but I don't think that's in the scope of our assignment, is it?
Maryland, what the city manager said that?
It could be.
Well, I don't remember the distance that, what was the distance?
What was the distance, Leslie?
Yeah,
8 to 10 feet?
8 to 10 feet past the right of way?
8 to 10 feet
Yeah.
past the road.
Okay, well, the additional condition that the fence be no closer than 8 to 10 feet from the right of way.
Okay.
I second that.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so the motion carries. Motion was made by Scott Davis, seconded by Jeff Hildebrand. It has passed unanimously. Mr. Faulkner, would you please advise the applicant and interested parties about their options?
Yes, we'll do that.
Okay? Mr. Mesa, thank you very much. We appreciate everything. We will now move on to our flex variance. Let me get that down there. Flex variance 2008 from Michael Carter, CLRS, in regards to the property located at 103 Rankin Boulevard. Mr. Faulkner, have the surrounding property owners been notified, and if so, were there any responses?
They were notified. I'm not aware that there were any responses, although it was possible there's some that Maryland fielded.
I had one phone call, and that person is also here tonight.
That person is there tonight?
Yes, we have several residents here along with the applicant.
Okay, thank you. All right. So would Mr. Carter please, or his representative, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and present your request to the committee.
Does she want to address it?
My name is Amy Thomas, and I work for Mike Carter. We're at 103A Rankin Boulevard. And we're applying to build a room onto our existing property on top of the concrete pad with a garage door on the front. To store our pressure washers and supplies that we need.
So that's basically on top of that drive that's already there.
It's on top of the drive that's already there.
Do you have any photos of what the proposed expansion of the building is going to look like?
It's going to be, this is the roll-up door, the garage door. It's going to be similar to that. It's going to be a brick, it's going to match the existing brick on the existing structure.
I don't know how to hold this so you guys can see it, except put it right in front of the camera. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'll pass it around to the group.
Are you planning on extending the existing roof over so that your expansion is actually part of the existing building?
That's what our contractor is planning on doing, yes. It's just going to look like an extension of the building.
It's going to make the building longer, right?
Yes, sir.
Which means it needs to have foundations and everything else. You can't just put that on top of a parking pad. Can you, by code? I did think so. Just making sure we take that for the record. Does the committee have any questions for the applicant?
No, that was, the only question I had was that if they made the building there, they would have to put some sort of foundation or knock off some of that concrete and put a foundation there for the end, for sure. Yeah.
All right, according to the application, the setback requirement for that property is 30 feet from the front, 10 foot from the side, and 10 foot from the rear. And the application is to allow construction of this addition to within 5 feet of the side property line. Is that correct, Pat?
Yes.
Okay. So will the expansion be brick?
Yes, it will. To match the existing brick on the existing building.
So if you're storing, is there going to be gasoline and other things stored in there? Because you said your pressure washers and other work-related items. Is that gasoline and chemical?
Well, the pressure washers, yes. I don't think he'll be storing gasoline there, but he's going to put the lawnmowers, pressure washers.
All right. So the committee has no further questions. Thank you so much, Gary, for coming forth. If you may be seated, so that we'll open it up to the public portion. So as I just stated, we will now open the public portion of this hearing for this application. Please try to hold your comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Is there anybody here to talk for or against the application in this. So please come to the podium, state your name and address.
Hello, I'm Corinne Keaton, and my property is next to Mike Carter's property. I'm at 105 Rankin Boulevard. I am against this. I feel like it's going to be encroachment of my residential property. This is a residential area, not a business area. I feel like it will be a fire hazard. There's no benefit to our neighborhood. Mike Carter has bought a lot of apartments, houses, and he has a lot of rental property here in Tupelo. He has a lot of buildings, and I feel like that if he wants a storage space, that he could use a building somewhere else. It probably will block part of my property. There is a gas line over that way. He says he wants it to be central to his office, but he's got so many apartment buildings and houses that anywhere he stores something would be central to him, because Tony, the guy that does all of his work, goes everywhere around town to these apartment buildings, so it wouldn't matter that he had put that storage somewhere else. But I do feel like it is a fire hazard, and that it may decrease my property value, because he approached me a few months ago. He wanted to buy 10 feet of my property, but I would not sell it to him. So my sister worked for the city for almost 30 years, and she passed away 7 years ago, and she left me this property and a house. And she had problems before with somebody wanting to build something there, and she was fortunate enough that she was able to buy that part. The man decided to let her buy that part of the property, so she kept from that something being built there. So before you make a decision, I have hired someone to do a survey. Mike did a survey a few months ago, but I never saw anything except some orange tape, that says what's his and what's mine. But I'm getting a survey, but the man that I hired cannot do it for like 2 weeks. So I would like to see what his survey says, if it's any different than what Mike has. But I'm very against this, because I just don't think it's going to be any benefit except to him, and I think it is going to block my property. And I'm concerned about that, and I'm concerned about the chemicals being there and that it being a fire hazard. When I feel like he can go somewhere else and have a bigger storage building than what he wants to build there on that 5 feet. So, but I am going to get a survey. So, that's what I have to say. And, I feel like that it might hide, that building might hide some of my property and the house and the yard. So I am concerned about it. So thank you, and I would appreciate you letting me get this survey before you make a decision.
Thank you. If you'll wait there for just a moment, ma'am. Does the committee have any questions for her?
I have a question for Pat. What was when that house was built, and was that 10 foot from the right of way? Was that the code, or was it 5 foot then?
Mr. Friend, I don't remember for sure, but I believe it would have been at least 10 feet in that previous building.
Madam Chairman, I'm hearing that she's asking us to table this until she has the survey done.
Okay.
I tried to get the survey done before today, but he just couldn't do it, so he said it would be about 2 weeks before he could do the survey. And I don't know if that, you might can make a decision without my survey, but I just want to make sure that, my survey is going to be the same as what's already been done, and that there's not, any variance there.
Ma'am, was there ever a house on that lot? That there's actually 2 lots there that you have, right?
Right, no, the man sold my sister the property. He was gonna build like a habitat house,
Oh,
but he decided to let her buy the property.
okay. But it wasn't a separate lot of that, or was there a house on there, on any of that lot before? Next to it?
No.
Okay, does the committee have any additional questions for her?
My husband said to tell you about the gas line, but he's probably gonna have to tell you that because I'm not, he knows more about that than I do. This is my husband, Kenny Key.
I talked to Atmos twice about this. I talked to Mike about it. Everybody knows about the gas line. The gas line is real close, within just a few inches of Mike's concrete. It's about 8 inches deep, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, about 16 inches in diameter. It comes across Kings Creek, it goes to the edge of Rankin, and it splits and goes north and south on Rankin. It also goes across Rankin and feeds Kroger, the Kroger store. And we talked to Atmos man this morning, and why they're not here, I don't know. But he said that nothing will ever be built on top of the gas line. I don't know if they have some type of easement or not. That's all I know about it.
Any further questions for the speaker? Thank you very much. May be seated. Is there anybody else that would like to speak for or against?
There's a lady coming to the podium.
I'm Joyce Logan, and I live at 106 Rankin, and I own the house at 104 Rankin. And it is across, catty corner to cross, I'm one house down from this office building that Mr. Carter owns. And just to make a long story short, I'm against this. It's because I guess mostly of the Atmos pipeline that goes down through there. And Atmos says damaging a gas line is extremely hazardous and can result in an explosion, fire, death, severe injury, destruction, and costly litigation. You can most likely be held liable for all potential liabilities caused by neglecting to have facilities properly located or exercising proper excavation procedures. This is the reason we are making this effort to advise you of the steps to take to prevent unnecessary damage and public harm. They're putting chemicals in there. I've had to deal with this with rental property myself. Leftover paint cans, leftover wood. It's just gonna be a mess, really. It's a real small place that they want to build this. And Corinne and Kenny have the most beautiful garden there. They have azaleas and everything like that. And we have tried to keep that end of Rankin looking real good because it's right there by West Main Street. And we tried to impress the city because that's where you cut off the main artery. And everybody says it looks great on that end of Rankin. And we're going to keep I would like to see it stay that way. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anybody have any questions for her?
Oh, but it sounds like we need some more information. I'd like to move that we table this till next month so we can find out about that gas line. That gas line is concerned if they're going to try and do the foundation there. So.
Okay, so we have a motion.
I'll second.
Can I ask first, before we make the motion and second and vote, can I ask you a couple of questions? Can I do that?
Sure.
I think the parliamentary order is to get a second and then discuss.
Yeah, Patty second.
I seconded it.
All right, so Doug Hillenbrand made a motion to table, Patty seconded it. All in favor of, so do we discuss now and then vote?
Yes.
Okay. So I had a question of Amy on whether or not they had looked at putting a storage shed behind this building and not actually doing anything on that side that would require them encroaching on those people's property.
There's no room
Is Amy still there?
there. There's no
They
room.
can't breathe right now.
She asked a question to me.
Could you come back to the podium? I'm sorry.
Come up to the podium, please.
Okay, now what'd you ask, Leslie?
I asked whether or not you guys have looked at putting some kind of storage shed or something behind the building on your property rather than having to encroach on the adjacent neighbor.
Okay, I didn't know we were encroaching on it because we're just building on top of the pad. I'm gonna have to find out about the roof and the foundation, so I would like, it'd be fine if we tabled it. I'd like to talk to the contractor and find out exactly what he plans to do anyway. But I do know the gas line issue, I believe they were concerned with the gas line, and the gas people came and set the orange things out and it wasn't as close as they thought it was. So, yeah, maybe we need to discuss this some more.
There you go. Because they cannot just build an extension of the building on top of a concrete parking pad. Doesn't mean close.
Okay, well, we need to get the contractor here instead of me. I think.
Not a problem, not a problem. Okay, so we had a motion by Doug, a second by Patty to table. We will now vote. Is that right? Okay, all in favor of tabling? Aye. Opposed? All right, so the motion has been tabled. Mr. Faulkner, where do we go from here on that?
Basically, we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and we'll find out what we can. We have no control over how long it might take for Atlas to respond on that question, but once we have that, we'll put it back on.
Okay. All right. Are there, let's see, closing. Let's see. Thank you guys for, I want to make sure I'm getting everything I'm supposed to, because Marilyn was supposed to advise us of the next meeting. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. Pardon me, everybody, for that. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The City Council will now review our decision, and Mr. Faulkner will report back on their findings at our next meeting. Mr. Faulkner, do we currently have applications for the next meeting?
We do. We have a rezoning and another application. I don't remember the details on that one. If we have a special call meeting scheduled for the 21st, and we believe that will make it so we don't have to meet in January.
Okay. So 12/21 is our next. So do we then have a work session on the 14th for that special call meeting?
We can.
Do we need to have a work session committee? That was a question to the committee, I apologize.
I don't know.
We don't know because we don't know what it is.
We don't know what we got.
Do you want me to explain, Pat?
Yes.
Okay. The first one is a rezoning. Margaret Ann Kennedy, on behalf of her mom, is requesting some additional land that they own at the intersection of Lawndale and Main Street to be rezoned. She wants to extend the commercial into two more lots into the residential, which is a mixed-use residential right there at that corner. So that's the rezoning that's on the agenda. The second one, there is a new Mexican restaurant trying to go into where another South American restaurant was on the corner of Foster and West Main Street. And this restaurant wants to serve beer and light wine, and they do not meet the distance requirement for a protected building, so they're requesting a variance for that. And then if we are able to gather any information about this application that we just talked about before, which I don't know, because I was hoping to have those notices to you guys pretty soon, and I don't know if we'll have enough time to get this application ready for the 21st, but we'll try. Right, Pat?
We would not have to have a second hearing notice for that, just to bring it back off the table.
Right.
We would probably notify the people who are interested.
Okay. So again, are we scheduling a work session for next Monday, the 14th, to hear the information?
She's asking y'all.
It's okay with me if you need it.
Brian?
Aye. We're all,
Yes.
yes, we're all eyeing.
All right, so we will have a work session on December 14th and then our special call meeting on the 21st of December. Thank you, everybody, for your cooperation tonight. Are there any comments or discussion? Mr. Faulkner, do you have anything for the committee?
I do not.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Third.
Second. Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.